Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim. Hope you are doing great. A very big shout out to this beautiful woman because she laid it all down. So she is talking about she is sending a message to white women who think they have proximity to white male privilege. Now let me tell you something. White women have caused so much problem that they probably do not even understand what is going on. Sometimes they feel like they are punishing my own people and other people of color, not knowing in the end it is coming back to them. And that then is one of the biggest problems that they are suffering, and they don't know it. It's just like the way this SNAP benefit has lingered for how many months, and most of the videos you are seeing, you see white women really being extremely wicked. Anyway, they were showing their wickedness because that is actually who they are. Mhm. So now, one thing is that they do not understand that there are some privilege their men got that they do not have. They wanted change. They did not even say the kind of change they wanted. Now everybody is facing it because it is make America great. And make America great. They are suffering without knowing. You and I know that SNAP benefit was made with them in mind, not with my people in mind. That's why if you look around, you definitely will see that white people are the ones that benefit more from SNAP benefit than any other people. But you know what? Let's get into this video.
I had a whole nother video planned, but I'll get to it in my next video. But right now, white women, come on down to the front. Come on down to the front. Now, I want to caveat what I am about to say because I'm about to get candid for a minute to say that this does not apply to all white women. There are a multitude of white women who are on the right side of history. They are down in my comments. They are doing the work. They are deconstructing, voting properly. They are getting out with the activism. They are using their bodies and their minds for good. They are doing what they need to do. But it's the other white women, the complacent ones, the ones who think that proximity to white male privilege is going to get them somewhere. Here, come on down to the front, y'all. Make way, and y'all ladies come on down to the front because I need to get candid for a minute. Y'all are the targets. If you actually look at all of the legislation that is coming out of the Bone Spurs administration, y'all are the targets. Now, we're not talking about the frozen people. We know that's racist. That is them wanting to de-brown America. We know what that is. But all of these other programs that they are getting rid of and this legislation that they are getting rid of, yeah, they are definitely trying to target Black people, for sure. But the thing is, you all are the ones suffering the most because you all are the ones who benefited the most from these programs that they are now taking away. See, what had happened was the stereotypes for DEI programs, EBT, SNAP, food stamps, Medicaid, government assistance, the stereotype for those things were always put on Black people. But Black people were not actually able to get government assistance until after the Civil Rights Movement. But government assistance has been a thing since the Great Depression. So white people have always been the highest beneficiaries of government assistance. And it has never been a stigma or a stereotype until Black people started receiving it. And Black people only started receiving it when we were forced into those concrete rises. Our men were taken away by either unalivings or over incarceration. And we were not even able to get government assistance if there were two parents in the home. So government assistance historically was forced on Black people, but it was never forced on you. So when it comes to the stigma of government assistance, especially when it comes to things like Section 8, which Section 8 was invented to keep Black people in those concrete rises, you all have been benefiting from the government without that stigma. I just wanted to get that out of the way. Now, how are you guys being targeted? Let's start with DEI. DEIA programs, yes, were enacted after the Civil Rights Movement to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion for everyone. Thing is, Black people have always benefited the least from those programs because of the racist framework of this country. So you all, white women, were the largest beneficiaries of DEIA programs. And now that those programs are being taken away, the people who benefited the most, white women, are now the most affected by those programs going away. And there is a reason for that, and we'll get to it. Medicaid, same deal. Most of the time, it is difficult to get Medicaid and SNAP without children. And anytime that a Black woman has more than 2 children, we are looked at as hoes in the street. But white women, especially quote unquote good Christian white women, are encouraged to have as many children as possible. And they are the largest beneficiaries of SNAP benefits, aka food stamps, and Medicaid. White people in general are the largest beneficiaries of those programs, and white women are the largest subset of that group. And speaking of children, the taking away of bodily autonomy, that policy 100% targets white women. When RFK Jr. and Dr. Phil got up on that podium and said, we need more babies, do you think they were talking about people like me? If black women started having more babies, they'd be pissed, okay? They're not talking about us. They don't want any more black babies. They want white babies. So whose vajayjays are they going after? Yours! The whole bodily autonomy and choice thing, that's for you. They want to force you, white women, to have children. It ain't for us. If they could force us to not have children, which they have in some cases, especially when it comes to immigrants and being forced to have hysterectomies, they would force us not to have kids. But for you, they will force you even if you are 10 years old and SA'd. The bodily autonomy doesn't stop there. They have already introduced legislation that says that our health care is based off the needs of men. Do you think they're talking about black women? No. White women healthcare is based off the needs of entitled white men. You are the target. They tell you, especially the good Christian white women, you need to get married in order to fulfill yourself in whatever crap that they want to feed you. But the thing is, at the same time, they pass legislation that says that you cannot register to vote unless you can present a birth certificate or a passport. If you are poor and don't have a passport, you will not be able to vote if you've gotten married. Because your name, your married name now, is not the same as your birth certificate. So if you try to register to vote and they ask for your birth certificate, you're not going to be able to register because you have your husband's name. They don't want you to vote. So all of these policies, the DEI policies that you think affects black people most, they don't. They affect you. The Medicaid and SNAP policies that people think affect black people most, like the lady who was eating toast, taunting people who weren't going to have food in November. Oh yeah, she got fired and I heard she's losing custody of her children. And she also said she was also on SNAP benefits at one point when she needed it. And she got off of it as soon as she didn't need it anymore, which is the majority of SNAP benefit recipients. They're not on it because they want to be. They're on it because they qualify to be on it because they need it. But I digress. So DEI, which is actually DEIA, but it's more of a zinger for black people if it's DEI. Medicaid, SNAP, all occupied most by white women. They are taking those policies away under the guise of taking them away from immigrants and black people. But you are the real targets. They have the numbers just like I do. They know who they're hurting. You think they don't know they're hurting you most? They are. Why? Because they don't want you to work. They don't want you to be able to control your own bodies. They want you barefoot and pregnant in their kitchens, doing what you're told, cleaning and cooking for them. That is where they want you to be. And you are cheering these policies on. You are cheering on your own demise because you think it is hurting black people or immigrants. Not the white ones, because y'all don't give a shit about those. Black and brown immigrants, you think it's hurting them. You think it's hurting black and brown people. But in essence, it's hurting you. Not being able to choose whether or not you have a kid in this country, even if you are SA'd or your life is in danger, targets you. Yes, black women are 100% affected by it because our mortality rates are already higher than everyone else because doctors do not listen to us and our pain in the hospital. That is by design. They think our pain tolerances are different than yours. So they don't listen to us when we are in pain. So yes, this policy also affects black women, but you are the target. They want more kids from you. They want you at home. So they took away your ability to get ahead. And y'all sitting here like dumbasses, cheering this on as if you aren't the real target. You are the goal. You barefoot, pregnant at home, doing what they say, being subservient to men. Not even your health care is your own. That is what they want for you. You sitting there with your hateful ass, cheering this on as all of your rights get slowly taken away. You don't realize that all of it is for you. When they are finished with all of the black and brown people like you think, your proximity to power is going to be at home, taking care of 5 to 10 kids that you had probably without anesthesia, whether or not you wanted them, with no voice. No voice at the polls and no voice at home. Make America great again? The men have a different idea of what that means for white women than I'm sure you do. Food for thought.
White people, let's talk about it. Let's talk about our violence. White violence. No more deflecting. No more blaming everything on everybody else. Let's confront ourselves. White people in America, our history is so extremely violent. And instead of confronting that, we continue to blame other people for the issues and the problems in this country, instead of just taking ownership of our part to play in everything, which is a huge part. Can we stop scapegoating other groups of people, please, and just look at ourselves? White people, it's time to talk about it. Like, it's long past time. Getting rid of other groups of people in this country is not going to make this country better. It's not going to make your life better. It's not going to make you better. I think white people are so scared to talk about race and to talk about white violence and white supremacy because they don't want to connect themselves to it. We don't want to feel like we're a part of the problem. But unless you're acknowledging the reality of how the US, this country, runs, you are a part of the problem. I truly believe in my heart, in my soul, that if you're born a white person in this country or on this planet, but I'll just speak about this country, part of that journey is to dismantle systems that have been built to oppress other people. The hard work of life is to confront yourself. How do I benefit from the way that things are? And how does my benefiting from those things harm other people? And instead of walking around with, 1,000-pound bag of shame on your back, consider it your responsibility to do that work. Consider it an opportunity that you are in the best possible position to make this world a better place by not accepting racist and prejudiced and oppressive systems for what they are and trying to contribute to changing them. Use the privilege that you have for good. I don't think that anybody can ever really love themselves without being honest about themselves, without being honest with themselves. And that work is painful and hard, but it's so worth it. White people, you don't have to consciously think that you're better than other people in order to contribute to harm against them. All it takes to contribute to harm is to stay silent and disengaged. White people, can we finally get this shit right? Can we finally take accountability? Can we finally look ourselves in the mirror and decide that this isn't good enough? We're not doing a good enough job. You aren't losing because somebody else is safe and cared for. You aren't losing because somebody different than you exists. White people, let's talk about it. Let's start having these conversations with ourselves and with each other. It's time.
White women are so annoying and insufferable in progressive spaces because they think the fact of them being a woman automatically equates them to the historical struggles and oppression of people of color, other marginalized groups, the LGBT community, Muslims, etc. They're not the same. You as a white woman, historically, have enjoyed more privilege than even men of color. You being a woman does not automatically put you on the same level as people of color, persecuted religious groups, LGBT community. You still enjoy more privilege than them. People need to include the intersection of race and class as well into these discussions, because these things, and I'm sure the black women watching this video are very familiar with that. Black women, that just because white women are women does not mean they share the same struggles as you. Does not mean they share the same struggles at the same level. Even the way them being white interacts with them being a woman differently than you being black interacts with you being a woman. So, white women, let's do some self-reflection.
Okay, white people, let's talk about it again. Let's keep talking about white supremacy and accountability. The reason why I want to have conversations with white people about white supremacy is not because I want people to carry this massive load of white guilt or because I think every single white person alive is racist. I don't think that. I want to have these conversations because if nothing changes, nothing changes. And I truly believe that it's our responsibility as white people who hold the privilege to dismantle the systems that we benefit from that harm others. So I made a video the other day talking about taking accountability as white people for our own history of violence and confronting ourselves and confronting the systems that we built that exist in this country today that have vastly different health outcomes and behavioral outcomes for different people. And pretty predictably, a lot of the responses that I got from white people were avoidant, dismissive, in denial, and pretty much unwilling to confront the reality of how our country operates and how that impacts people who are not white, straight people. I had a lot of people saying, well, I didn't build it and I treat everybody the way that I would want to be treated, so it's not on me. And why do all of us white people have to be ashamed of being white? And color doesn't matter, and you are furthering a divide between races or just between different demographics of people that shouldn't exist by talking about this. And something that I learned actually from volunteering in prisons with incarcerated men and women is the concept of radical accountability. So accountability, I think is pretty obvious. Most people think accountability is taking responsibility for your own actions and how they impact other people, and acknowledging any wrongdoing that you've done and committing not to repeat those actions. But what I have observed and learned from the incarcerated men that I've volunteered with that are very, very committed to their paths of bettering themselves and contributing positively to the world is that radical accountability goes beyond just the individual and their own actions. It extends out to how they interact with their communities, what they want to offer their communities, and what they really want to contribute to the world that they want to help build. So the response that I heard about, well, it isn't me, when you shift your perspective, radical accountability is about looking at your surroundings, looking at your environment, looking at the community around you, and considering it partially your responsibility to uplift that community. Do I think one person can change the entire world completely on their own? No, but I think if a lot of us embraced the idea of radical accountability and looked out into our communities and decided to take on the perspective that our communities are our responsibility and the health and happiness and stability of our communities is our responsibility, then I think our world would look a lot different than it does. So in speaking with white people, that is the point of confronting each other and ourselves about whiteness, about white supremacy, about white violence, because there's no way to deny it. It's undeniable that white supremacy exists and is alive and thriving in this country. Trey Reed was found hanging from a tree, and his case was immediately dismissed as suicide. Second autopsy, and we're hearing a very different story, which is completely unsurprising. ICE agents walking around, shoving people to the floor, separating families, brutalizing people, brown people, vast majority of the time, without repercussions, without consequences, without even having to show their faces or their names. So, white people, when we think about the culture of white supremacy, white violence, and the history of that and how it persists today, culturally, the fact that you just exist as a white person means that you are contributing to the culture of whiteness somehow. Just like every single person on planet Earth contributes to the culture that exists in their communities. Your existence contributes to some sort of dynamics that exist in this world. You could be contributing aggressive, intense racism, using slurs, degrading people, making people's lives hard, demonizing people. You could be contributing to that culture by engaging in it. You could be fighting hard with your activism against that culture and trying to use your voice for good, trying to donate your money, your time, your energy, picking up books and reading, listening to conversations with people that don't look like you, did not grow up like you, and have insight that is really important for you to learn. Or you could be in denial and just ignoring everything. You could be afraid and avoidant. You could live your life without going anywhere near this subject matter because that's more comfortable and that's easier. But that also is contributing to a culture and a dynamic. So no matter what you're choosing to do, no matter how you exist, you are contributing to the dynamics that exist in the world in one way or the other. And the question is, how do you want to contribute? Who do you want to be? Racism and bigotry isn't just about using slurs or dehumanizing people to their face. It's about the systems that exist in this country that make some people's lives better and that benefit some people, but harm others. So white people, it's important for us to talk about white supremacy and to educate ourselves about how the systems in our country operate and the outcomes that people face as a direct result of how these systems operate. Nothing changes if nothing changes, and I hope lots of people are having these conversations. I hear it sometimes, but I don't hear it enough, and I want to be somebody that engages in these conversations. I think it's so important now more than ever for us to be using our voices and to be finding ways to connect and communicate about how our country actually runs, the reality of life for people in this country, and how do we contribute to that, and what is our responsibility. And I think we all have a responsibility to each other to make this place safer, because if what everybody says that they want is safety, but your neighbor is constantly unsafe, you are not safe. Safety is about the stability of a community. It's about how we treat each other. It's about what we offer each other. It's about generosity. It's about humanizing each other. It's about seeing the needs that people have, the very real, intense needs that people have, and deciding that it is our responsibility to meet those needs, to get people on stable ground so that all of us can experience safety and stability. Nobody will ever be able to convince me that we are going to reach a state of harmony and safety and kindness and generosity and equality in this country if we don't take accountability, address each other, confront ourselves, and decide that all of us have a responsibility to create the world that we want to live in. It isn't productive to just continue blaming generations past for all of our issues and remaining in denial about what still exists today. So white people, let's keep talking about it. Love you.
This is all I got from this video. And a very big shout out to this beautiful black woman who actually brought this thing up. And seriously, some of these people do not know what they are doing because they think they are punishing black people. Everything she said is true. And I remember I have talked majority of this here. I remember talking about how very soon their plan is that if you marry and your name is changed, like if you marry and you are now Mrs. Brooks, right? It means you may not be able to vote. Why? Because your name already changed. And I saw some black women back then saying that, oh, thank goodness, my name has always remained the same. I didn't change anything and all that. These people actually know what they are doing. And the people that always fall there, the biggest victims of white supremacy most times are white women, but they don't know. They fall victims because most times they feel like it is only affecting black people, not knowing that it affects them more. For example, you all remember what has been going on, how Tostuman has been sacked from her job and she has lost custody of her children. That is one of the things that will continue to happen to them if they decide that they will not learn, because I have never seen them learn. Learning is far away from them. And they will come around to turn around to tell me that my IQ is the one that is low when they are the ones with the low IQ. But I will leave it at that. But you know what? I actually said what I said. Now, let me tell you this. from the look of things, white women were really, really extremely happy. Why were they happy? They were happy because SNAP benefit was cut. But the thing they did not know is that the SNAP benefit that was cut will not affect Black people more. It will affect them more. Black people, less. Other people of color, less. Right? And they are poor, okay, let me say, poor white people sometimes are actually the problem. Part of the rich people, I know that they have always been the major problem that we are facing in this world. But poor white people, they do not ever want to believe that they are poor. They do not. Now you and I, they are suffering it. We are suffering it too. But you see, starvation, we hit more. Famine, we hit more in their community than it will hit in my community. One thing I know for sure is that my people, we have community. Hope you know that. They don't have that community. They don't have it. The fact that they have refused to learn, because sometimes they feel like proximity. I know white proximity, they are whites, proximity to power. They think they will have equal power with their men. They think they have proximity to white male privilege. And that is true. Not knowing that there is a limit to what they can push and a limit to what white men can push. You see, accountability. Accountability is something that they have refused to take. This woman she was talking about in their community. It is your community. I know you are trying to be kind. You are deconstructing and talking about anti-racism and all that. It is your community. If there is any, I keep telling myself, majority of these videos they make, you guys, if you people really want to work about what your people are doing, you have to start calling your families out, because majority of these people got all their, that's why sometimes I don't take them so serious, because most time they cut all their families off on social media. They are not following them because the problem starts with their family. Check one family, you definitely will see one huge ass racist. Their families are blocked. The people that are getting their message are who? Just other white people. If you are ready to start the job, start with your community, because that your community is where the problem is. That your family is where the problem is. You might be making all the whole sense here, but sometimes I feel like you people are not doing enough. You guys do not take accountability of most of the nonsense you all do. White supremacy is a thing. Accountability is something they do not ever want to take for all the nonsense they have done and still continue to do. Make America great, make America great. How great it is today that you and I are looking for food. That you and I, some people are not being paid their salary. You guys wanted change, but you never talked about the kind of change you wanted. Some people are not getting salary. And some of you are starving because your husbands, all your husbands work in a place where this shutdown affects. And you guys will never, ever agree that you guys are the one perpetuating most of the things that is going on in this country. Not until you all see the waking up is not even, this thing got nothing to do with my people. This thing got nothing to, got nothing to do with my people. White people really do have a whole lot of wake up to do. And not until then, what is going on will continue to go on. Suffering will continue to happen. Blames game will continue to happen. Their husband will continue to do them what they do people that have refused to run away from their marriage. You know, when your marriage is not working, but some of them are patching it. Majority of them married racists. That when you, sometimes when I see their, what the hell? Some of them, when I see some of the men that I see their videos, first thing I ask myself, who are the people married to these men? Who are the people married to them? I will draw my curtain here. Bye for now.